Well, today I've got the job of going through these leaves, which have all been in the fridge outside in the stinking heat with the window facing the sun, and I left them there all day with a cloth on the bottom just so that the humidity would build, and then I took them out of the fridge and put them in this bag straight away, so that way I don't really have to hydrate the leaves. They're pretty much perfect the way they are. This has got just the right amount of tack and leatheriness to it that I can devein them and then stack them in rolls with pairs, you know, matching sides, and then I just put them in little rolls here like that, and then I'm going to sort them out, press them, and use them as wrappers for cigars. So here are all the little top leaves and spear-shaped leaves that come from the top. They're the coronas and half coronas, and what I've done is it looks like they're sort of chopped up, but they're not. They're actually whole leaves that I've deveined and then put all of the sides all together. I just pulled them a wee bit so that they all curled up, and then I've put them all lengthways, and that way when you load the cigars you have to get all the leaves in a line but rolled up into little tubes so that all the air can get through where it doesn't choke. So there's a real art to getting this right, and I certainly haven't got it. And these are short filler, and short filler is basically where you rip the stem out of the middle and then you roll them into little tubes, and then you put the tubes inside one of these wrappers, and then we'll put them inside some paper and coil it up the same way, and we'll use that as basically a mold, and we'll leave that till tomorrow, and then we'll go through and put the wrappers on the outside of the cigars. And this is just some junk I threw in the bottom of the fridge, so this will become short filler. And these little dark nutty ones with all the little crystals on the outside, they're super strong, so yeah, be careful. Well, the lighting is not very good. I don't know why this camera doesn't show things up very well. It's brand new too. Anyway, these are cigars that I've done so far. As you can see, I'm not very good at it. You can see I'm making little tubes inside, which means that the draw gets better because I've been doing it wrong, and I've learned a lot from PNW. See the little holes? The draw feels really good too. So next I'm going to put these in a bag and let them stay nice and cased, and then I'm going to wrap them in paper and leave them till tomorrow, and then put these wrappers on. I've got some big wrappers here that I've done this morning, and these are my short filler, so they're a little bit damp, so all I'm doing is just letting it dry out in the sun like that. And then tomorrow hopefully these will look a little bit smoother and I can wrap them. Well, I've managed to make this many cigars. I'm not very good at rolling them. I just did them sort of the length of my fingers here, so they all sort of came out the same size. So the next thing I've got to do, because I don't have any molds and I've got no intention of buying any, is getting this paper here and wrapping them all, rolling them up just the same as the cigars into paper, and then I'm going to leave them for another day. So there we go, I've got them all wrapped up in paper. Got the ends open and snipped so that they can dry more easily, and then I've got the ends twisted to form the mouthpiece, which you snip off. So tomorrow I'm going to unwrap them and see how round they are and how smooth they are. So after rolling the cigars in paper, I have, because the paper is a makeshift mold, I'm putting them on top of a rack, on top of the hot water cylinder. This pipe here is 70 degrees and it's insulated by these towels. So when I make pipe tobacco, I case the tobacco at about 65-70% water, and then put it in a bag, squish it very tight, and then I wrap it around this pipe, and I leave it for it's supposed to be about 4 days, but I leave it for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I just forget about it basically, and then come back and it's nice and brown and rich, and yeah, and then you can age it by giving it a little bit of oxygen and then letting it age. So on top of here I've put all these molds for the cigars. The cigar here is drying very quickly because it's not in the mold, so I'll just leave these here till tomorrow. Well, it's the next day and I'm slowly unwrapping these little cigars from the paper wrappers just to see how good the molds actually end up looking. Looks pretty smooth. There's no major sort of like problems in the way it's wound. Especially in these little windings here, you want to watch and look to see that they've actually stuck, which they have. It's shrunk. So I'll just give it a bit of a breath test and see if it draws okay. It's a bit tighter than it was yesterday. Must have been because everything's shrunk. So I don't know if these are going to burn or not. I've done my best to make sure that it's built up of lots of little tubes. It's a bit tight on this end here, so I'm probably going to snip that off and then test the draw on every single one of these to make sure that they're actually going to work. They're not good enough quality to give away, that's for sure. So there we go, there's the results, and the paper wrapping seems to have smoothed them over and made it a really good job. I might be wrapping them a bit too tight. It's very hard to tell because I'm not experienced enough to know, but basically I've just got to use what I've got that's growing and what's readily available. So basically all of these trimmings that I might take from, you know, an end or something like that, that will get thrown into a bag and rehydrated and then heated up to 70 degrees, and I'll leave that there for about 3 days, 4 days, and it'll Cavendish this tobacco and make it really rich and dark, which will be good for pipes. So the results are in. Basically here's my ugly little cigars that I unwrapped today from the wrappers, and I was very, very nervous about the structure of the fillers, whether they were rolled in tubes or not. I paid meticulous attention to whether they were tubes or not, and they came out very tight, so I've got to watch that in future. And when I'm rolling, I need to roll extra loose because they're going to tighten up. So they have been drying now for a day and a half. So I gave one a light up so you can see the wee tubes in there. Gave one a light up today, and it smoked really, really well until it got to about here, and then it started getting sideburn, which tells me that there's too much airflow at the side. So that's something I have to work on. But so far, this one smoked really big and really evenly, and the outer wrapper collapsed around the ash like it's supposed to. So yeah, thanks PNW, because you are amazing. You've taught me so much, and I've learnt so much.